Because reading is what?
Fundamental.
Hey guys, welcome back to Do You Read BTS? I'm Lisa.
And I'm Delaze. Welcome back, guys. So we read another story, and it's by an author that we've read before and we've reviewed before. The story is called "Belonging to Bangtan," and it's by. I do this every time and I mess it up. It is zero. Oh, it's zero. The letter O underscore pervy underscore Nuna underscore the letter O zero every
Yeah,
time. But yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and get into it, and yeah,
we love Pervy Nuna though.
yes, her stories are always so good and
They are
entertaining.
always so good. We've read a couple of her stories and we love them.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So in the beginning of the story is a girl. Her name is the girl, of course, and she is a prostitute.
Mhm.
And she literally works for her uncle because she doesn't have parents and she didn't have like any relatives
Yeah.
when they
Any
died.
living relatives?
Yeah,
Mhm.
so the only person they knew to for her to go to when she was 15 was her uncle that she knew nothing about. So her uncle was in the game. You know what I'm saying? He was selling drugs. He was pimping prostitutes. He just had a whole gang mafia thing going on.
Mhm.
And so he didn't really care about her at all. So he just put her with some high end clients, and that's what she did for years.
Mhm.
So in the beginning of the story, she is actually with a client, actually has just got done doing the deed.
Right.
And then I don't know if she had like a instinct to like hide or she heard JK and them coming or what. But
She probably had an instinct because she'd been in this life for so long.
right,
She probably
yeah.
was just like, "Oh, shit's about to go south. Let me go ahead and hide."
Right. So she hides under the desk. Now, if y'all know a hotel room, hotels always got a desk. So she
Mhm.
hides under the desk in the hotel room. Here comes JK because he's a part of Bangtan, which is their game. And in their game, they all 7 members specialize in different things.
Mhm.
So JK specialized in like the muscle. So everybody know he's the muscle pig.
Mhm.
So he does like the muscle things, like he go after what the game needs, like they have to rip somebody up or whatever. So they talking to this guy that she just had sex with. He evidently owes them money
Mhm.
and has not paid him back. Now Jen is the leader of this group,
Mhm.
and he keeps saying, "Tell Jen I'm paying back then. Tell Jen I'm paying back then." And JK was like, "Well, you should have been done that." So basically, JK kill him on the spot, and then he's like, um, what does he call her? Little bird?
Little bird,
Girl,
yes.
I was feeling it. When he said little bird, I thought about Nam Jones saying little one.
Yes.
So I instantly thought about you, D. So
Yeah. Whew.
So anyway, so he contacted Little Bird and he's like, "Come out, Little Bird. We know you hiding somewhere. We see your clothes over here. We see your purse, so you might as well just come out." So she comes out and he said, "Oh, he pretty much knows she's a prostitute." And he's like, "Who are you working for?" She didn't want to tell him. So he was like, "Oh, you don't want to tell me? Is it such and such or is it such and such?" And she still wouldn't tell him. So he was like, "Well, I know somebody that will know who you working for." So he
Mhm.
took her back to where their house was, I guess. That's the
Mhm.
house. And so he takes her out, and they looking at her up and down, and he brings Tay out, and Tay is looking at her, and Tay knows where she comes from. And so he tells her basically that she is working for her uncle, which is their biggest enemy.
Right.
So their first instinct was, well, let's just kill her. But then she stopped him and she was like, I can give you guys intel on what's going on with my uncle, blah, 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 blah. And then they was like, oh, you're right. We can keep her around for like little details, but in exchange, you got to sleep with everybody and
Everybody.
and everybody get a different day. She like, cool, because she used to this.
Right. Bet. I
And
need to do what with who? All these fine men? Yes, I will. Like
yes, in a hot second, don't have to tell me twice. And everybody
Yes.
out here looking like full snacks too.
Mhm.
Yes, everybody can get it in the best
Mhm.
way. Okay.
Yep.
So she like, okay, bet. So they pretty much let her know, okay, in this amount of days you're gonna mess with this person, this person, this person, this person. And so go ahead, Dila.
All right, so she's like, all right, cool. I got this, this, and this. I'm gonna mess with whoever on this day. Cool, we'll do that. So they started based off of the age. So they start from the bottom and go to the top. So her first person that she's with is JK.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So JK is always the person that. So she's really good at what she does. And
Mm-hmm.
oh wait, no, her name was Velvet. Remember they called her Velvet.
Oh yeah, like her name was, she had YN, but they called
Yeah.
her Velvet.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So
We gonna call her Velvet.
yeah. So Velvet was very good at what she did, like very, very good. She could read what somebody needed or somebody wanted at a drop of a hat. Like she knew. And with JK,
Mm-hmm.
she knew exactly what this man needed. And so
Mm-hmm.
she did her thing and he was happy and pleased and whatnot. And they kind of went
So
about their go ahead.
So I just want to say, because she does different things with all of them. So with JK is, they so used to all of them like screwing like these prostitute girls that Jimmy had,
Mm-hmm.
that he usually just taking pretty rough on all the girls. So he was just about to beat that thing up.
Mm-hmm.
And she knew that he needed something else.
Mm-hmm.
So she was all soft and sensitive with him and slow.
Mm-hmm.
So she wanted to make his orgasm, I guess, the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what she did with like each member.
Yeah, she did. So another part of this, Jimin is the one that's over the prostitutes, but he really treats his girls really well. Like he makes sure they're good. He
Mhm.
always makes sure they're safe. So yeah, that's a part of it. So
And he loved them girls too, girl. He loves them
yeah,
girls.
it's like their
So can
family.
so can we just like quickly say like what all of them kind of do?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I think I can remember most of them. Okay.
So okay, so JK we already said was the muscle. Tay
Yeah.
was like the IT techie guy.
Mhm.
Jimin was the one that was in charge of the prostitutes.
Yep.
Hobie did what was Hobie?
Drugs.
Oh yeah, he did the
Drugs.
drugs. That's right. Hobie did the drugs. Yoongi did he was also like muscle as well, right?
I was just trying to think what you like, cause he had a specific something,
Yeah,
but
I
I
can't
just can't. I can't remember what he did.
was he guns? Like was he arms?
Oh, I think so. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yes, 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 yes. That's
Okay.
exactly what it was.
Jin was the leader, and then Namjoon was the like the play the strategy. He did the
Strategy.
strategies. Yeah,
Of course, Namjoon will be the one to do
right.
that.
But they all had some form of like training when it came to like fighting and taking shit down. Like they
uh-huh.
all had some form of training to make sure they could protect themselves.
So I think we was at the part where she was basically sleeping with JK.
Oh yeah, yeah. So that whole thing goes down. She gives him what he needs and not what he's normally used to,
And they
and
like, oh my God, this was mind blowing sex. Like, how is you so, like, how
yeah.
are you still so tight? Like
Right, they all
they
said
kept saying
that.
it.
Yeah, I'm like, all right, girl, you better do them Kegels.
Right, you better get them yawnies.
Yes. So during this time, I guess so the overall plan in the end is to find some way to take down her uncle's gang because they've been causing a lot of issues. So after I think it was after she ends up dealing with Tay, or is it before when she gives them a little bit of intel, then she deals with Tay? I
Well,
can't remember.
I think what she does is like each day that she has with a member, that day she has with the member, she ends up knowing a little bit about them and a little bit, and they learn a little bit about her as well.
Yeah, and one of the other parts of it was JK was a little bit like he was kind of closed off because he wasn't really giving her that much information about like his background, but he gave her like something. And
He's the one that told her that they all met in juvie though.
right. And so they all have these like really sad backstories, including herself, and oh, they're so
And
sad.
none of them have parents at all, like not one.
Right. And so she's finding out this information about them, and she started to like care, like, oh, these people are really nice. They're not like my uncle's gang where these people like the leader gives a shit about their people. They each give a shit about each other. Jimmy really cares about his girls, like everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she really gets a lot of information from Tay when she ends up hanging out with Tay that day because he ends up kind of feeling really comfortable with her and he wanted to just cuddle afterwards.
Yes. Well, I feel like Tay didn't. He kind of acted kind of scared
Yeah,
about having sex with her as well. So I
right.
guess when she did her thing with him, honey, she broke down some barriers,
Mhm.
and then he felt comfortable like talking to her about a lot of stuff.
Right.
So I think what I was trying to figure out is what each member like how they ended up in juvie.
So Tay oh wait, I can't remember what JK's story. Oh, JK was a fighter. So he did live with his parents at a point and but this story came out later. This didn't come out right at the beginning. But this story
Yeah,
came out later where he was always fighting. And one day he was coming home and his parents were arguing because they were about to get a divorce, but they weren't arguing over who gets him. It was over like wants to deal with him because he was such a problem. And after
right.
that, he packed his stuff and bounced and never saw them again. But he needed money. But he was a really, really good fighter. So
Hmm.
he ended up getting hired on by this guy to fight. So he was like fighting and winning and stuff like that. And the guy was paying him, but then he started paying him less and less and less and less.
Right.
So he ended up, what did he end up like robbing him or killing
I,
him?
I think he ended up robbing him.
Yeah, and getting his money. And that was kind of it with JK. With Tay's grandparents, he was living with his grandparents, and they got scammed out of some money. And so Tay hacked into the system and started filtering the money to his grandparents, and his grandparents turned him in, and
Yeah,
he ended up going to
yeah,
juvie.
they did that.
And so he was just trying to help them out, you know.
Yep. But
Oh, it's
girl,
so
you know
crazy.
old people ain't about that life.
That's true.
They probably was looking for him, and they was like, you ain't about to hide here.
Right, he right here.
Yeah, come get him.
Right, his address is
Right. So what did Jimmy do? I cannot
Jim.
remember.
Jimin's mom was a prostitute and he had grown
Oh,
up in
it's
that
right.
life. Yeah. And so his mom used to get like manhandled real bad and was always not doing well. And so he somehow ended up getting into that life or something like that. But I
Mhm.
can't remember how he ended up in juvie though.
I think he killed that man.
I think you're right. Oh
I think
yeah,
he.
he did. Because the guy killed his mom.
Mhm.
Yep, killed his mom. So I think he ended up killing him the same way that he killed his mom, which was
Right.
choking him to death.
And he just went to juvie. Ain't that something?
Mm-hmm.
They all end up in juvie for things that they shouldn't have been in juvie for. These crimes they should have. Well, I don't know if it was in America, but in America they would be tried as an adult.
Yeah, sadly. um, but
Okay.
yeah. So Jimin, that was his juvie story, and then Hobie. I don't remember what Hobie's story was.
That's what I was trying to think. I don't remember any of them. You remember all of them.
I can't. Hobie. I think his had to do with revenge on somebody, or was
But
that?
did weren't his like parents into like drug dealing too, or something like
Yeah.
that? Because that's how he got involved
Oh,
in drugs.
yeah. So it was somebody's. I don't know if it was some family member was involved in like drugs and selling, but his dad was selling, and his dad was also using. And so his dad ended up dying, and instead of calling the cops or the ambulance, he ended up
He called
calling
his
the
drug
dealer.
the
Yeah,
dealer. Yep.
and the dealer cleaned it up and was like, "Hey, you can deal for me because you're not on that stuff, and you'll be really valuable to me." So he ended up doing it that way, but I think he got popped, and that's how he ended up going to juvie.
Right.
And then Yoongi, I don't remember Yoongi's story.
Me neither. But every one of their story has something to do with what they're doing now.
Right. I don't remember Yoongi's at all. Dang, what was his story? Uh, hmm.
Girl, I ain't got a clue.
Yeah, I can't even pretend to remember. Like I'm. Yeah, I don't remember what Yoongi's story was.
Well, the
Um,
rest of them had stuff that whatever they went to juvie for, it was like their trade. Like that's what they went to juvie for. They went to juvie. They met one another in juvie, and then like Jim was the leader because he protected them in juvie.
mhm.
Also, of course, he was the oldest.
Yeah, and
But
yeah.
so they all got out, and then they all didn't know anything but the life that they knew. So they
Mhm.
decided to start their little gang up.
Yep.
So going back to the story, um, that's when she was like kind of just hanging out in the house and like wasn't they went to do a job. Um,
Yep.
was it um JK and I want to say it was Yugi.
JK and Yoongi, and I think that was it.
Yeah, they went to do a job and then that because it was something to do with one of Jimin's girls.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
And then whatever she was going to work, the guy ended up shooting her and they
And the
brought her back to the house.
and I think the
And
guy was one of her uncle, the other girl, Velvet's uncle's people. I think.
hmm and see, Jen was, of course, like in every story and everything in BTS world that we know, he was the one that was the medic.
Right. Jin
He's
stayed being
always
the medic.
right. He always in every story. He's somewhere being a medic somewhere. I think it was because that the dope music video.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
hmm So anyway, so Jen was trying to help this girl basically, and then that's when Velvet was like, "Oh, can I help?" And Velvet was being like really nice to her and just kind of helping her out. And then the girl ended up telling her how that's how she figured out that Jim was a really sweet, nice guy, and he took care of his girls, and none of them wanted for nothing. He wasn't the type that be slapping hoes around like that wasn't Jimmy.
Mhm.
And so anyway, the girl ended up just dying, and
Yeah.
Jimmy
And
was so cut up, like he was so sad about it.
yeah, and the girl was there beside the other girl. So the other girl's like name, quote quote name, was Candy, but her real name was Samantha. And
hmm
so she was like, the Velvet was standing next to her. She's like, "What's your name, honey?" Because she was really sad to see this girl going through it, but she wanted to make sure she knew somebody was there for her. So they're
Yeah,
like having a conversation. She's like, "What's your real name, sweetie?" And she tells them like that little touching moment. And I
yeah.
guess when it became to be her and Jimin's night, um they kind of talked about that, and how,
But that was the same night.
oh, that was the same night.
That was the same night because the girl died. Jim was really sad about it. Like she was just trying to cuddle him and make sure he was okay, and they ended up having sex.
Mhm. Cause she's like, "Are you sure you want to do this right now?" He's like, "Yeah, girl."
Yeah, he was like, I need this.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, they ended up having sex. Good sex too.
Right. All the smut's always written so well in these stories.
So good. Y'all gotta go back and read this because we can't explain to y'all how good the sex was in the story.
Without just reading it for real, for real.
Right, right.
Cause man, whew, okay. Next month, man. Next month. Next month. Bruh. I'm gonna cut that out.
That's so funny. You need to leave that.
Man. Oh, I can't wait. So okay, so that happens. So she gives him intel to tell. So okay, so her uncle has okay. Wait, I'll get there in a second. So her uncle has like a place, two places that have weapons and stuff. So she tells him, "Hey, there's this place that you guys can go to. It's like a warehouse or whatever. There's going to be guns there, but this is what y'all need to know and whatever." So they're like, "Can you make sure that your intel's still good?" So she calls one of her homeboys from her uncle's team, and he's like the guy that always like looked out for her, always took care of her, made sure she was straight every time that she was on the verge of death, because her uncle used to be putting her in some crazy situations where she was going to get killed. Like if the client wanted to do something reckless to her, if they paid enough money, they would be able to do it.
Right. He cared nothing. He didn't care at all about her.
He didn't see her as a person. He saw her as property.
Right. And the only person that did was that guy.
Yep.
What was his name?
Younggook.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna call him YG. So
Okay.
So YG used to hold her down. So she called homie and was like, "Hey, bro, how you been?" He's like, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know where you was at. I'm glad to hear that you're alive and well. You know, what's the tea?" And he's like, "Yeah, things are still going well, whatever." So he's like, "Yeah, the warehouse is still good, blah 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 blah." She's like, "Cool." So she ends up telling BTS about it. Well, you know the gang, and they look up some information. So Tay does his little Googles, not Googles, but his little research to find out, to make sure everything was cool, and then they head out to go take care of the to get the weapons. So during all of this, so they come back from it. They didn't have any issues that time, did they?
No, I don't think they had any issues. I think they was just preparing for taking us down. But she didn't go. Who went? Did all of them go? She didn't go, did she?
No, she didn't go to this one. She stayed.
Oh, they went. All of them went, but she stayed. She just told them what to do.
Yep. So they get back. Everything was cool. They got all the guns. Everything was everything. So that was kind of like that. So when
I thought Tay went this time. Wasn't this the time that Tay went and he got?
Yep, it was.
Or was it the second time? Because they went 3 times. It was the first
second
time.
It was the second time.
Okay, so this is not the time Tay went. Okay.
I think it was the second time. I don't know, girl. I'm trying to. Cause what did they go for the first time then?
The first time they went for the guns at this place. The second time they went to the penthouse.
Oh, that's right. And the third time they went to the house. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Okay. Yep. All right. So yeah. So this time Tay was cool. I don't think Tay went this time. I think Tay stayed behind.
He had to go the second time.
The second time he had to go. Yep. So they make it back. Everything's cool. They got weapons. Well, now it's kind of buzzing around her uncle's gang, like, "Oh shit, we've been hit, blah 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 blah." So they trying to take other stuff down. She's like, "Oh, by the way, y'all, he also got a penthouse that has more weapons." And so they're like, "Cool." She's like, "Here's the thing though, I have to go with y'all."
And they like, "Nope, absolutely not," because at this time now they start to care about her. She giving some like real like intel, like they know that she ain't trying to play them. They already didn't figure it out, like, because when this part come, when she started telling them about the penthouse, she's had sex with a good bit of them.
Yep. And
she didn't figure out their life. They didn't figure out her life and why her uncle did what he did, how he doing her.
Yeah. Oh, we have to say so. I think by this point, I think by the time she's saying she has to go. I think that's the time when she's gone through everybody. And something that we want to point out is when it was her and Jen's day, they didn't actually have sex.
Right.
He wouldn't have sex with her because he was like, I want to make sure that you want to do it, not because it's my day. So they didn't
Uh-huh.
actually have sex. But by this point, things are a little bit different. But she was having sex with somebody, and they were like, oh, I don't want you to get pregnant or whatever. She's like, that's not possible, don't worry about it. And it eventually comes out that the reason it's not possible is because her uncle didn't want any issues when she's working with the clients, and he had her get a freaking hysterectomy.
Is that not horrible?
Like, she was a kid.
Yeah. He wanted to make sure. Like he didn't want her to have no time off.
Man, so crazy.
Yeah, that was horrible that he done that
I
to her. Like
know.
at 15, you made her get a hysterectomy because you didn't want her to waste no time being pregnant.
Right. Didn't want to have her have any time off.
Like even when they was like, well, you could have had an abortion or something. She was like, nope, he didn't want me to spend no downtime getting better from the abortion or something.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Mm-hmm.
That man was twisted.
Yeah,
Oh
definitely.
my gosh. So as times, I just got to mention this because again, in a story, Nam June is packing, and I just have to bring
Of
attention to
course.
this. I just have to bring attention to this because why not? Um,
Yeah,
so again, each of them has their own type of style that she does for them. She's really good at what she does. And
really good.
she's able to find each style for each of them. Um
Uh-huh.
so they so when the second time comes around for them to go to the penthouse, they're like, if you're gonna come, because she tells them, hey, we can go in this thing, but the problem is it has a biometric scanner and I have to be there because me and her uncle are the only ones that have the access to the penthouse, and there's a bunch of guards that live there in the bottom level, so you're kind of gonna need me to go. They're opposed to it, but she ends up being able to go.
And Tay had to go too.
Tay ended up going too. Wait,
Uh-huh.
I feel like we're missing a
Mm,
part
that
because
was I think that was maybe Tay did get shot the first time.
maybe because now I'm like, she didn't come back when Tay got shot. I mean,
Yeah.
when they went to the penthouse, she didn't come back. So maybe it was the first time. I think you're
Oh
right.
yeah, because she was at home when Tay got shot.
Mm-hmm.
And it ended up being like a through and through, like the bullet just went straight through, and
Right.
like gave him some medicine, like some kind of drugs to make him high as a kite, honey.
Yeah.
Because that night she ended up messing with, did she end up messing with Hobie that night?
I think so, but for some reason I don't remember. I don't remember Hobie's.
Mm-hmm. Hobie was reckless. I'm trying to think of what happened, but he was a little dumb kind of
Was
in the
he?
story. I thought he was.
I just don't remember. You're probably
Okay,
right. I
don't.
just don't remember.
Okay, really don't hold me to it. You guys just need to go read.
Yeah, you gotta read it. I know it was good. I just don't remember like what exactly his style was, but he did something, and it was like it was a thing. Um,
Yeah. So going right along, we just had now they get into where they gotta go to this penthouse. She had, like they said, had to scan her hand for them to get in. And so they didn't want her to and even and wait a minute, went by then, went she with Jen by then?
oh yeah. Okay. So okay, we gotta backtrack a little bit.
Okay, we're backtracking.
So as she's dealing with each and every member each day, she's feeling things, but she's like, it's not like the same, but something about Jen is making her nervous. Something about Jen is making her like feel some type of way. In the same vein, Jen is also feeling some things towards her as well.
Right,
But
and neither one of them understand it either because neither one of them have really been able to like love anybody.
exactly. And so neither one of them know how to take it. And at a point, Jen like gives her some advice on allowing herself to feel, and Tay comes in and is like, "Hey, bro, you ever think of taking your own advice while you sitting here giving it out to
Mhm.
other people?" So he starts to let himself do that. So one night when he's on the
Oh yeah,
balcony,
because he tells her that she should allow herself to open up,
mm-hmm,
and so that's why Tay said that.
yep. And so one night he's on the balcony or she's on the balcony and she ends up talking to him and she pretty much tells him that she likes him and he's in such shock he doesn't say a thing and she runs off and
Mhm.
he's like in his head he's like shit I should have said something but she's already gone. He didn't run after her, he didn't say nothing, so she's thinking he don't feel the same type of way about me and I look like a fool and I gotta live in this house and now I look crazy.
Right. Which I was like, Jen, you wrong for that. You could have ran after her. You gonna wait a little time to go tell her.
Right, he waited too long. He waited too long. I mean, it worked out, but like still, he waited too long.
Yeah, and then that's when he was like wrecking his brain because he didn't tell her. And then Yugi was like, "You just need to tell her." You remember Yugi was smoking a cigarette outside.
Yeah, I pictured that
He,
whole scene in my head.
me too. Was he blonde?
Yes, blonde. He had on a
Yep.
little jacket and was just kind of looking unbothered. And it was
Mhm.
like, look, man, in his deep ass voice, you gotta go, you
Yeah.
know.
Yep. Yes, girl. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so he basically told her, you need to just go tell her if she already done told you. You just need to go tell her. So he ended up going to her door, knocking on the door, telling her his feelings as well, and then they have sex.
Mm-hmm. So
Good sex.
some good, passionate, emotional, intimate, just
Yes.
yeah. So
Uh-huh.
flash forward now to the second time going to second job.
No, we didn't mention this part that she so they was telling the members. They
Oh
was sitting down with the
yeah.
members and they was planning the penthouse thing out.
Mm-hmm.
And they basically told him, okay, we like each other, we in a relationship. But Jen was like, but I feel bad and I don't want to take her away from you guys because JK brought her in.
Mm-hmm.
So we just decided that we're gonna continue the rotation, let y'all do y'all thing with her.
Yeah. And he was like, "Are y'all good with that?" And they were like, "Nah, man,
Yeah,
I'm not good with that. I don't feel right doing that. Knowing you got feelings for her and that she got feelings for you." So all of them agree that they're not gonna mess with her no more.
right. Which I ain't gonna lie. I wanted this to be an OT7 all the way.
I was
I wanted this to be. I didn't want her to be in a relationship with one. I
right.
want her to be in a relationship with all. But it still was good.
It was real
It still
good.
was good. Yeah, it still was good. But that's just me.
So after that, Jen, she's like tells them like, "Hey, I gotta go with y'all," and Jen's like, "Absolutely not. You won't change my mind. You cannot do that. We'll figure something else out, but you're not coming with us." So they're all trying to rack their brains, and she's like, "I got this." Velvet did her thing. She walked in that room.
Yes, she
She
did.
had her little outfit on. She had.
Mm-hmm.
She was like, "Sit down." So I can't do what I want to do. I'm not in charge of my own body. I can't blah 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 blah. He was like, "Oh crap." So
Yeah.
long story short, she ended up changing his mind. So he quote unquote allowed her to go.
Yeah, because she had on that leather lingerie.
Mm-hmm. Was not playing no games with that man. So she ends up going to the thing. So now all of the members are there. They got this plan. They get in. Everything's cool. Things are going well, and they're getting ready to leave. And as they're jumping off the roof to head to the car, I think it was like Yoongi and
Yeah,
Tay
Yugi and JK.
JK were the last ones to jump off before her, and she saw that there was guards coming up. So to prevent them from getting shot at, she tells them to go ahead, and she just walks over to the guards and was like, "Oh my gosh, I've been kidnapped." Blah 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 blah. And
Right, because she knew that if she would have not done that, that once they started shooting it, it will like signal everybody else that was there.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
they wouldn't have a chance, like, because there's so many of them.
Mm-hmm.
So she voluntarily like took her bulletproof vest off. Get it? Bulletproof. Anyway, she took her bulletproof vest off, and yeah, like you said, she was like, "Oh my God, I've been kidnapped," and they were like, "Where you been?" Blah 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 blah. So when they did that, Yugi looked back and seen her walking off with them.
Mm-hmm.
So he had the perception of, "Oh, she played us.
Right. He really
She
felt some type
dipping
of
on
way.
us."
Yep.
Yeah. And they all really thought that. So once they got back, they got out, they got back into the van or whatever, and then they was like, "Wait, wait, wait, where's River at?" And Yugi was like, "Let's go, just let's go. She gone, she gone." And they was like, "Well, wait a minute, tell us what happened." And she was like, "I watched her walk off with them. She played us the whole time. Let's just go."
Mm-hmm.
And then so Jen all tore up, honey.
Mm-hmm. And Tay don't
And she,
believe it. Tay's like, I don't believe that. That's not what happened.
yeah, hmm the
So,
whole time Tay was the one that was like, something had to happen. What?
mm-hmm.
And he kept going over. So go ahead, Dealers. I'm sorry, I kind of took off.
No, no, you're fine.
Sorry.
So,
So they
oh, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, so they end up just going back to the house, and then like Tay kept saying it couldn't have been that something happened.
Mm-hmm.
So he just kind of kept going over the tapes. Jen's so tore up about it, like he can't even deal right now because he's so in love with this girl that he only been known for a week.
Mm-hmm.
But it did keep saying, "I know it's only been this amount of time, but I still feel this way." So that's why.
Right.
But anyway, so yeah, but Tay kept going over tape until he finally figured it out.
Mm-hmm. So while Tay and them are looking at, like, Tay's looking at the tape and everybody else is feeling some type of way, Velvet is back at her uncle's, and so she comes and sees her uncle, and he's like, "Oh, I thought she was dead." Blah 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 blah, and she's like, "Nah, I was just kidnapped, whatever." He's like, "Great. Well, since things are changing now, um, I'm gonna have you all to myself, and we're just gonna be together, type of thing. And you'll only be mine." And she's like, "I'm your niece. What the hell's wrong
Yeah,
with you?"
right, because she was ready to go back and get her clientele and like keep moving on, keep working, because she had already in her mind was like, okay, my life in Bangtan is over. Like I'm just gonna go back and do my thing. So that's what she thinking until he was like, nope. Her old girl over here got all your clientels, and when they all was blowing me up asking where you was at because you're so good at your job, I just knew I had to have you to myself.
Mm-hmm. And she was like, "I'm not doing that shit. The hell is wrong with you?"
Yep,
And he's like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm gonna break you." And he like threw her in a dungeon.
right. He was like, oh, you gonna break eventually.
Mm-hmm. So she's down in the dungeon. Tay finally figures it out and finds out that she's in fact in danger, and he contacts YG, telling him like, "Hey, we're the kidnappers. We're here, here, and here. Heard you really treated her well. We just want to make sure she's all right. Blah blah blah." And YG's like, "No, bro, she's not good. Things are bad. Homeboy's tripping. Y'all gotta help her because
Right.
we can't have this happen to our girl. Like, y'all took really good care of her. That's the happiest I've ever seen her before. This isn't gonna work."
Right.
So yeah, so they kind of go through this plan, and YG ends up going down to the dungeon area and telling Velvet about what the plan is. And she's like, "Okay, bet, I'll hold on hope, I'll hold out until then." And so she does. So they end up breaking her out. They go in guns blazing, they end up breaking her out. But during the time of them getting out, the guards see, oh wait, no, it's her uncle, right? Her uncle sees her and YG and the other girls, and they end up shooting the YG.
Yep.
So they're trying to get her out, and she's like, "We can't leave him." So they end up taking his ass too back to the house.
Yep.
The damage ended up being much worse than they expected.
Right, and he ended up dying.
Right. And like she like tells him he loves her. She tells him she loves him, and he says the same, and Jen automatically gets pissed. And that part,
Right, and I was mad at Jen about that. I
me
ain't gonna lie.
too.
I was mad at Jen for that because Jen, you see this man is dying.
Me too. This man has saved her multiple times from being dead on the street and has been a good
Right,
friend to her. And you're really gonna see her be mad about this? He just died. Let her live.
exactly. And he came at her like that, and she let him know.
She sure did. I'm glad too.
Yeah.
She's like, "Are you for real about to get on me about this? Or like you're serious? Oh, okay, cool. Let me read
Mhm.
you real quick. First of
Real
all,
quick. Yes. Shaking her head and everything. I
yeah.
see it.
Oh man. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. I know I've been talking a lot.
No, girl, you good. You good. So, yeah, so she basically read him, let him know what's up. You're not gonna be doing me like this. This man saved my life plenty of times when you wasn't around. And yes, I love him, but not like that.
Mm-hmm.
But he was dying, so you think I wasn't gonna give him his last dying kiss that
Right.
he wanted? So anyway, so he was just like, I'm sorry, I just can't help the way I feel, blah 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 blah, all this bull. So they end up burying him in the yard, like by the tree, like they had a whole
Crematory.
what do you call it? Yeah, at their house. And you know what I was thinking about? I remember on Bad Boys too.
Oh
Was
girl.
it one or two? And they had that crematory down there in the basement.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, that's what I was thinking about. But anyway, so they cremated him and they poured his ashes out by a tree.
Mm-hmm. They actually had a really big house, and they had a full swimming pool, a full gym,
Mm-hmm.
a full like sauna and spa and all, not spa but like sauna and stuff like that, and a crematory in this freaking house, and a library and
Yes.
some old shit.
Yes, this house was huge.
Yes, decked out. Okay, go ahead.
So, after that, I guess they all got together and was like, okay, we gotta strike while it's hot. They're down. They were basically was like, oh, we gotta talk, we gotta strike while they are hot. They are like down right now. We've got the penthouse, we got the what
The
was it?
warehouse.
The warehouse. So now we gotta go in and take him down.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, oh, I'm going. And Jen again was like, nope, you're not going nowhere. Like, didn't you see what happened last time? You're definitely not going.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, yep, I'm going because if anybody taking him down, it's me. He's done
Mm-hmm.
this to me. She said he's done so much to me, you have no idea. And I want to be the one to take him down. So they decided they're going on another mission. They
Mm-hmm.
go there and they go there guns blazing. Literally.
Mm-hmm.
So get there, and then as they get all the way up to like where the uncle is before they get in the door, they turn around. Jen gets shot in the leg, and Jimmy is pretty much putting pressure on the leg, and all the other guys are like out, like killing people on the other ends. So I was surprised to find out that they just let Jimmy just sit there and put pressure on Jen's leg like that, though.
Well, so one of the things was the uncle was like, "What's stopping me? Like, I want you to come with me or something like that. Like, what's stopping me from killing them both right now?" And she's like, "I'll go in with you if you leave them alone." So she ends
Oh,
something
yeah.
we forgot to mention too. Like we were talking about how they had all this stuff at their house. They've been training her because they had planned on going to this house to take her uncle out. So she's been training in fighting. She's been training in shooting guns, which is something that she had not been privy to before. So
Right. So her uncle didn't know.
right. So she says, "I'll go with you if you leave them alone." And he goes, "Okay, bet." So they go into the office. The guards are in there. They take all of her weapons. He has a gun. He puts it on the desk, and he's talking mad shit to her, like calling her
I
all names,
mean,
talking about how she ain't shit,
yes.
like all this other stuff, popping crazy to this girl. And she's just
Yes.
sitting there taking it like, you have no idea what you went for, bro. So he says something
Right.
crazy to her. He's like, you would never blah 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 blah. She's like, bet. So she hops up real quick and she grabs the
Yeah, because
gun.
he started talking about the clip. And
Mm-hmm.
she like, what you're not gonna do is talk about them. Now you didn't make me mad.
Mm-hmm. So she hops up, grabs a gun, takes out both the guards, and is like, cool. And he's like, because he was talking mess, you don't even know how to use one of those. So she hits them both and is like, I don't. And so then she pointed the gun at him, and she's like, "You would never." She caps him both in his legs, and he's like, "Oh,
Yep.
whatever, whatever." She shoots him in his dick, and he's like, You don't have the balls to blah blah blah." And like, as soon as she said that, she's like, "You're right. I'm not gonna let you
Oh,
sit
that's
here
when
and."
the guard. No way, the guard came in. Remember? Didn't she shoot the guard too?
Yeah, I thought she shot the guards
The,
before that.
well, when she shot him, that's when the guard busted through the door.
Oh, okay, okay. So she shot him in the knees first, or in the dick, and then shot the guards. And he was
Right.
like, "You're not gonna just leave me here to die, are you?" And she's like, "No, I'm not gonna give you the satisfaction like you left me for dead." And then she shot him in the head and bounced.
Right in the head. I'm like, yes, girl.
Like the whole scene in my head, I'm like, I could just imagine she was like, he was in the middle of talking, she was just like, pow, and then she slowly turned around, and there was some bomb ass music in the background, and she was walking in
Yeah.
slow motion.
This turned into a motion picture real fast.
Yes, she was in there working. She had her outfit on. Homegirl was in her
Yeah.
black on black. She was like,
Yeah.
yes, I handled that shit. He's dead. Let's go home.
Mm-hmm.
So there's other gangs in the area as well, but everybody had a problem with her uncle's gang. So when he was
Right.
dead, everybody was like, cool, we can all breathe, we can all do our thing, and we can live in peace. And so that was kind of it with all the other gangs. Like nobody was really tripping after that.
Yeah, right. Because everybody was doing their own thing. And also, Bangtan had already started like tempering down.
Yeah.
And so basically, they went back to the house. Jen was shot. They got him better. They had a doctor on site when he got there.
Mm-hmm.
They had to end up digging the bullet out his leg. They ended up finally getting it. He was on drugs, so he was high as a kite, and he just went to sleep. But for the duration of time, it'd been like 2 or 3 weeks after that, or 2 or 3 months. I'm not sure.
Mm-hmm.
But they had to train him and get him back ready. So JK had to train him to get him to walk again on that leg and move right. And
Because I think JK had gotten shot too. So they was both rehabbing their bodies.
but not as JK was like too.
Yeah, yeah, his was a
His
drinker.
wasn't as bad as Jen's,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. And so yeah, they end up just kind of rehabbing together, getting back right. That pretty much was kind of the end of the story.
Well, so there's a part where like they're rehabbing their bodies or whatever, and things are okay, and then like they decide like they're gonna get out of the business and do different things, and so
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
Jimin opens up this strip club, and he has the girls that were working for him as prostitutes like be strippers if they wanted to, and then like Hobie is like gonna manage the club, and they're just pretty much changing their life. Well, at this event, Jin ends up proposing to the girl,
hmm
and I think that's kind of it after that.
So I was hoping, like, because it didn't in the story say that she had hysterectomy. However, it did say she had her tubes
Oh,
tied.
tubes tied. That's right. That's right. It was her tube.
Right. So I was just hoping that he was gonna say, "We're gonna untie those tubes."
You know what I kept thinking? I kept thinking this whole time where she was like, "Oh, my tube's tied. I can't have babies." Blah blah blah. I just kept thinking she was gonna get pregnant, and then like at
Yep.
the end of the story was gonna be like, "Hey, I'm pregnant. Oh, by the way." Like I kept thinking that was gonna happen.
Yeah, me too. Like I wanted it to happen though. Just cause simply cause she had her tubes tied. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I kind of wanted like one to slip through there because getting your tubes tied are not always guaranteed. Now people get them cut and tied and stuff like that, but sometimes people just get them tied,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can get some slips through or just tied. So that's why I was hoping that she would kind of get a slip through,
Mm-hmm.
but it didn't happen.
Yeah, I kept thinking that too. I was like, "Oh, she's gonna be pregnant." But yeah.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the story. How did you feel about the story?
Of course, y'all know I love Purple Donna stories, so I love this story. However, I ain't gonna lie, like I said, I wanted it to be an OT7 story. I wanted her to be for everybody, but I was okay, with her just being with Jen too, because it still turned out to be a really good story. Like there was a good smut in there was good drama in there, like everything was good. How'd you feel?
Yeah, I felt like it was a really good story as well. I was thinking for the longest that it was going to be OT7, and I couldn't really, I wasn't picturing how it was changing to a Jen story until it
Uh-huh.
happened, and I was just like, oh, okay. But I was kind of with you because I was like, the way this is going, it's going to be OT7, and I'm here for it. Like,
Right, right. I'm always here for it. I like
hmm
OT7.
but it was really entertaining. Like I was reading it, and once I got like into finally like, because it took me a little bit to get started. I had a lot of stuff, so
Right. And I had already been reading. I was like, girl, you're gonna love this. You're gonna love it.
yeah. And as soon as I started, I couldn't stop it. You told me that too. You was like, once you started, girl, you're
Yep.
not gonna be able to stop it. Sure enough, I was reading that thing so
Yep.
fast. I really liked it. I like the like the backstory of it all and how everybody was so damaged but still so loving to one another, and we're like a
Right.
family, and it was just, oh, it was such a great story.
And I liked it because they didn't treat her like a hoe either.
Exactly. They were super kind to her because she was a person. They just treated her like a
Right.
human being. Who would have thought?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So great. I loved it. I really did.
It was good.
So that was the story, guys. Next time we will be having a special guest on to review with us, or just to kind of go
Mhm.
over some information with us about the story. And you guys can always send those recommendations. We've been getting emails, we've been getting like direct messages. So we definitely appreciate those. We're adding them to the list. Again, if you don't hear it soon, it's not that we forgot about you. It's just we're trying to get a certain order in and making sure that everybody has a fair shake because we are getting a lot of the same people. So
And please let us know when you send those in. Let us know what story, like whose story is it? Like, is Namjoon's story? Is it Tay story?
mm-hmm.
Like, what kind of story is it? Also, and where can we find the story? Because we have gotten so many stories on the list that we cannot even find.
Right.
So just let us know where they are at so we can find them too.
Yes, please and thank you. You can send them to us on our Twitter, on our IG. You can always email us at doyoureadbts@yahoo.com. Yeah.
We also want to mention that we want to do a Q&A with you guys.
Mhm.
So if you guys have any questions that you want to ask us personally about us or what we like to do or what we like to read or anything, just let us know because we want to do a whole Q&A episode if we can
Yeah,
for you
definitely.
guys. Because we're a whole family up in here and do you read BTS, honey.
Yes, yes, definitely. We want y'all to get to
So if
know us as well.
right, so get to know us. Send us those questions. We're gonna put them all down and answer them on the episode.
Mhm. Yep. Well, thank you guys again for tuning in to another
Thank
episode.
you.
We will see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.